I've taken a few notes. It is what it is. I'll just speak, and if you like it, you like it, and if you don't, you don't. It is what it is. Basically, I talk all things Leeds, talk Premier League, talk Ireland, England, international football, Championship, Premier League, all that. But the reason why I'm compelled to start this now, I suppose, is I've been watching a lot of creators, and a lot of them are very good. Some of them I really disagree with. Jack City, yeah, you're a legend, and if you know the name Voldemort, you know. It is what it is. But with the Premier League this year starting already, and the transfer window closing in a couple of days, I think I wanted to put my thoughts and feelings out there, whether that moves anybody to follow me or give a damn, whatever. But if you do, like, comment, subscribe, I'll get in touch with you, I'll interact with you. And if you don't like me, whatever, just move on. Give me a thumbs down, whatever. Doesn't matter. Everybody's got an opinion, and opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. I'm just putting mine out there. So, today I want to talk about what I've done so far in the league, tonight in the Cup, obviously against Sheffield Wednesday, and ultimately the transfers that we have looked at, or we have brought in so far, and potentially will be bringing in the future. I am not in the know. I know nothing. This is my opinion. If you don't like my opinion, it is what it is. I talk about how I feel. I'm an emotion merchant. So I get up and I get down. I'm like any other Leeds fan. So hopefully we could be decent on the channel and just get on. We'll see what the crack is anyway. But anyway, first up, I'll talk about a few transfers. So after we secured a promotion to the Premier League, obviously we all knew we had to rebuild. We had a very good championship team, one of the best in history, 100 points. I was one of those fans that probably wanted Farke out up to Christmas of last season. And then I realised over January that the window, the 49ers just didn't back him, and I changed. I found myself changing, and I felt almost like he was fighting with one arm tied behind his back in January. Like we'd won out going and no one coming. And I really got behind him, and I completely changed my tune with him. And results were amazing. You know, the results were top drawer. You can't fault them for any results whatsoever. So, got the 100 points, won the league. Monor Solomon last seconds of the game against Plymouth away from home, obviously last day of the season, amazing. Me and my father go over on multiple occasions, but that atmosphere is mental. We went over to Leeds in the playoff final against Southampton. We couldn't get tickets for London, so we flew to Leeds from Cookstown, Northern Ireland, and we flew over and we watched it in the Moot All Arms. That was a scarring disappointment. But anyway, come back to the build of the team. We knew coming into the Premier League, the biggest problem that we're going to have in the Premier League is there's going to be teams that are a lot better than us all over the pitch. We had a massive issue with the goalkeeper. Defensively, yes, we had the second best defence in the league in the Championship, but ultimately when it boils down to it, the Championship is a different beast compared to the Premier League. The Premier League is ruthless. One shot, one goal, boom, done. Um, we can't rely on just Perot in the Premier League. Personally, I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League. Nowhere near to. Personally, he doesn't hold the ball up. Doesn't bring players into play. He offers you nothing against the best. That's not to say he doesn't whenever we're playing lower opposition, but my doubts are there. But in my opinion, we've seen a mix of smart signings so far. And some signings with very good Premier League experience. We've brought in players to bolster the defence. And Nemacha, he's a striker. If he's a defender, we'd be worried. Bornau, Goodmanson, Bijol. But the main thing that I want to speak about is one of the first signings was Nemacha from Wolfsburg. We got him on a free. I knew about him, didn't know an awful lot about him. Was a bit concerned, but happy because it was so early. And then we got Bijol, and I was excited about that. And then we found out he was obviously suspended. And Bornau, again, knew nothing about him, but the two of them come in from top European league in Germany and in Italy. Bijol, one of the outstanding defender outside of the so-called top 3-4 in Italy. Bornau knew nothing about him, but 5 million and was it 13 or 14 million for Bijol, I think it was more than good business. I was more than happy with that. We needed to bring players in, and bolster that defence, which I think they have. Whether that's good enough remains to be seen. But then when we brought in Lucas Perry, I was absolutely buzzing, over the moon. I think I played as a keeper when I was younger. Played at a good level, played Gaelic football and football. And I thought Perry was an amazing signing. 6'5", Brazilian, third choice behind Allison and Ederson of Brazil. That's not to be ashamed of that there. Played for Lyon, French football, Europa League, good pedigree, really good price. And I see we had to move on from Melly. Melly is just a disaster, but that's a story for a different day. Then we obviously move into the fair pair, Nemacha, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I think we needed, for the fact that them boys came in, I think we're free, both frees, and you have obviously a proven goal scorer, a proven Premier League player there. It's massive, and it's exactly what we need. I'm not going to move past Sean Longstaff. Sean Longstaff is 171 games or something like that in the Premier League. 7 years, every year, Champions League football, scored against PSG last season. There's people out there that say that we have not done good business. It's crazy. You've got to look where we started from. You can't say we didn't do business or good business. The players we have brought in are better than the players that we had here originally. When you look at Lucas Perry, he's better than Meslier. He's better than Darlow. Goodmanson. He's the only left back we'll have. He's better than Bayram. Bijol and Bornau obviously remains to be seen because they haven't played yet, but I'd like to think they're better than what we have. Right back I'll touch on because obviously we've only signed him, and James Justin. He's competition for Bogle. Is he better? Probably not, but he's decent competition there. And if we're relying on Sam Bayram, then we're in trouble. But ultimately we're not now, so it takes the pressure off a bit there. When you move into the midfield, as I say, you have Longstaff. His quality at Newcastle, people completely underestimate the man. As an 8, can play as a 6, but ultimately as an 8, gives you the legs and the physicality in the midfield that we're crying out for. And obviously we have signed Noah Okafor. I see people crying about Okafor's injury record and things like that. And if you look at it, it's not actually that bad. We've signed players and probably are hoping that they have decent seasons with injuries, and we should be okay compared to the other teams that are going to be fighting us at the bottom. West Ham, atrocious. Burnley, atrocious. Sunderland, nothing to write home about. I don't know what people are really panicking about. Sunderland's midfield is their best part, and they were completely overrun for 70 minutes by Burnley, in my opinion. Jadon Anthony took them apart. I just don't see the whole hoo-ha about Sunderland. And they're missing 7 players to the African Cup of Nations. People forget these things. Huge things. Like Noah Okafor, for example. Noah Okafor is a 6'1" winger, built like a tank, passed the medical, is ready to play, and he came from AC Milan. He's played at a very good level. He plays for his country. He's probably going to go to the World Cup this summer, and people are sleeping on how good this man can be. He could be a game changer. Now, the issue is we need a game changer on the other side. Again, I'll touch on that in a minute, but the reality is he's like was it 13 up front and rising 17, 18 million for no Okafor? It's a no-brainer. It's good business. It's very good business. And then yesterday, obviously, we had James Justin comes in for, was it 8 million rising to 10, covers the back. Again, does that finish off the defence? My hope is no, but it probably does. Obviously, we see, I personally believe we have an issue when it comes to the midfield. Gruev, I think, is absolutely nowhere near the level in which we need him to be. He is, if you're talking Amps, Ayo Tanaka, both out with MCLs, and then you've Sean Longstaff and Stack. If you're talking Gruev coming in to start games, I think we're in trouble. I think we need another central midfielder, whether you try and get somebody on loan. I don't know. I see we're like the Buonanotte today, and whether he's like more attacking and wing. Don't know if that's realistic, but we need to be shooting for the stars, because if we don't, we're in big. I've touched on most of the players. I've just touched them. There's no point in going into depth and the whole shebang, but the outs then, obviously, we see some departures, mainly to balance the books, PSR and that type of thing. Like, I think Werder Bremen are saying Schmidt today, if not already signed. And then we've got loan fees in and that type of thing. You have Joffrey out of Hull, and the likes of obviously Bamford, Dargo JB. You have players like that, like Greenwood, are all going to be going, hopefully, because they're big up. Their wages in itself will be huge whenever it comes to being able to pay all their players coming through the door. If Bamford's on 74 grand a week, that's taking a wage off somebody that we could be ultimately paying. Like Noah Okafor's on 74 grand a week, going by Capology. So, but then we've seen Jack Harrison come back. He's on 90 grand a week. But then Rasmus Christensen went out, so that sort of balances that sort of up a bit in terms of finance. But I think Christensen's in like 60 odd. Like, that's crazy for an absolute useless player. I don't know why we got players like that. I read today that we're apparently looking to offload Harrison and Aronson, and that concerns me. And the reason it concerns me is because I don't think we're good enough in the midfield, attacking or defence. And I think I was one of those players that ultimately was very reluctant on Jack Harrison coming back to the club. And Jack has come back, put his head down, bought rounds and all that jazz, just trying to ingratiate himself with the fans. I don't care for that. But the reality of the matter is, he is better than what some of the players we have. So we have to integrate him, we have to use him. We cannot let these players go. until we bring in better, we can't let them go. Overall, Farka has a deeper and a better squad than he had last year. We've spent wisely. We've focused on areas that they've been hit hard last time in the Premier League. Our defence was disgraceful in the Premier League. Our midfield was non-existent, and we couldn't score. Now, people will say that's the same as we are at the minute, but we've got two games, one win, one loss. We have 10 new faces in the building. Spent 100 million, and it's not bad for a promoted side. Nowhere near good enough. We need a couple of marquee signings, and when I say marquee, we need an attacking mid. We need a right mid, and we need probably a striker, because to be fair, we're not going to score goals. First game of the season, home to Everton, win 1-0. Penalty all day long for me, absolutely all day long. The man's leaning, Tarkovsky's leaning into the ball. People say, oh, it's his body and this is beside him, but he's leaning towards the ball. How's that natural? Leaning towards the ball is not natural, so his body shape's not natural. Doesn't matter, move on, win 1-0. Nemetsa, great, fifth touch, scores, great goal. Great 3 points. If you say to me at the beginning of the season, before the season, you take 3 points in the first 3 games, I bite your hand off. A point a game keeps you up. We play Everton, Arsenal, Newcastle. And if we get a point a game, which is Everton win, Arsenal loss, Newcastle loss, go into the international break and we've got 3 points, I'm happy enough. But as things happen, we go to Arsenal, we get tanked 5-0. Abysmal. What annoys me is about the whole thing about the Arsenal result was the lineup. And as I say, I totally turned on. Obviously, I support Farka 100%. Some people don't, some people do. It is what it is. But again, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody has one. I'm not right. I might not be right all the time. They may not be right any of it at all. But I support the manager at this point. Until if he makes the same mistakes, then he has to go. If he continues to make the decision to play that midfield, the decision to play Gruev, the decision to play Perot, the decision to play Willie Notto, the formation, all completely wrong. Longstaff on the bench and you play Gruev. Tell me why. Why not play 5 at the back? Counter-attack football. You're against Arsenal at the Emirates. You're going to probably get beat. Anyway, the debate is, obviously, has he learnt? I don't know. Against Everton, we looked great. Just toothless up front. The ball, and again, the ball against Everton, the ball goes to Perot. He's nowhere near. He's chasing shadows. He's out of his league. He's not Premier League. And the problem that I have is that against Arsenal, I actually said to my father, Saliba and Gabriel just pass around him like he's not there. And that's exactly what they did. He offered nothing. He didn't bring anybody into play. He didn't hold the ball up. He didn't have a shot. He was a shirt. That's all he was. And my concern is going forward, if we rely on somebody like a Perot, we're going to go down without even creating a whimper. So we'll have to get ourselves right. I think, forgetting pre-season, and I hate listening to Farka talking about pre-season and this, that, and that. Pre-season, you're just getting fit. It doesn't matter about results in pre-season. It doesn't matter about any of that. It's integrating the team, the philosophy, that type of thing into it. That's all pre-season's about. And I absolutely hate the fact that after the game he's talking about we went undefeated. What does that matter? That doesn't keep you in the Premier League. Pre-season does nothing. You need to be looking ahead. Not forget it tonight in Sheffield Wednesday. You need to be looking at the Newcastle game. And for me, the Newcastle game is winnable. Crazy. But I think it's winnable after what happened last night against Liverpool. Anthony got right. Isaac situation. Hopefully, he's not brought back in. Gordon is out with suspension. Joe Linton is possible. Well, he's out for weeks now because of a groin injury. Tonali, what a player. He's out. And possibly Shaw's going to be out with a head injury, with concussion. If we were ever going to play Newcastle and we're ever going to have a chance of getting anything from them, is that time's now. Simple as that. If we don't show up and don't pick the right team and tactics, we have no chance. So this, to me, for a lot of fans, will probably be Farka. You have to pick the right team and the right formation because there's going to be people pissed off. If not, we have the 5-0 is not good enough. I know it's Arsenal, different league, different calibre, but if we can get a point at home to Newcastle, a point, bring them into Anfield Road, get that stadium rocking like it normally is, and get a point of them, or maybe sneak a win, 6 points in your 3 opening games, it's huge. We're moving into the last week of the season, last week of the transfer window is huge. We're linked to everybody. We've been Peugeot. Don't give a shit about him, to be fair. Move past that. But we have so many players and people that we're linked to now, and Forest are in for them, Wolves are in for them, Everton's in for them. Why can we not fight? I can understand Forest being in Europa League. Why can we not fight against Wolves for Uche? Why can we not go against Wolves? Are going to be down in the bottom fighting against us to stay in the league. Why can we not compete against them for Uche? Can someone explain that to me? Why are we just going, Wolves, well, you know what, you just take him. Why? Buenanotti from Brighton is another one. It's probably going to be alone. He's a creative midfielder, obviously attack, can play from the right or the left, but through the middle as well. He's exactly what we need. But then apparently he's linked to... is it? I don't think it's Everton. I think it's somebody else. Can't remember, but he's linked to somebody else as well. Just go and do it. I don't understand. The 49ers are so frustrating. I said at the beginning of this video, we've had a good window, and we have. We've had a decent window. But the thing I don't understand, it's been so frustrating. Parag Marathe has come out and said months ago, we're going to bring £30 million players in. The maximum we've spent on one player is something like 16 or 17 million quid. Where's the money? We put a bid in for Muniz. Was that ever realistic? Did we know that was going to be struck down? I don't get it. There's like Uche, a touchdown, way be a game changer for us. Through the middle, from the right, up front as well. He can play, which is ultimately not his position, but it'll be great. I see a lot of conflicting opinions whenever it comes to Manor Solomon. Look, Manor Solomon comes into Leeds and he's better than what some of the players we have there. Let's be brutally honest. But if he comes in, I support him 100%. But if he also comes in, it's underwhelming, isn't it? Been promised the sun, the moon, and the stars, and you get a Solomon. But we know Farka ultimately wants another one striker minimum, an attacking player who can play wide right, can play through the centre, potentially two midfielders in that role. You know, I think we need another midfielder centrally. I think we need to get players out. I don't really know. But listen, we're at 25 and a half minutes. I'm going to do a few more videos, see how it goes. Please like the video. Please subscribe if you can. I'm going to put up a few more. Take it from there. Listen, thank you for watching. For anybody that's bothered watching the whole video, thank you very much. It's just my opinion, and I hopefully get people on and talk, and we can go live and chat and just give our opinions. That's what it's all about. That's why we love football. We all have an opinion. Marching on together.